What's going on, Raider Nation? What's up, YouTube? I'm Bubba the Raider. I'm coming here today with like a real rough uh, 2017 mock draft for just the Oakland Raiders, my team. Hell yeah. Um, it's like I said last time, it's tough making these, and especially this one. Some of these guys I haven't scouted like at all. I'm trying to make my way through. I don't have a ton of time, but I'm trying to. And there's some guys that I definitely really like, and some guys who I picked in certain places that probably won't be available there, and some guys I probably passed on thinking they wouldn't be available when they might be. So, with the combine coming up, I think next week, a lot of this will change. Um, but I wanted to get this out and get set up for that before it started so that I can make updates and talk draft with you guys. Like I said in my last video, I absolutely love this time of year. It's like Christmas to me. I love the draft. I love watching prospects. I love thinking about where the Raiders can go. Usually they don't go that way, but thinking about what I would do if I was in a position to try and make this team better. And as a lot of Raider fans know, until this year, really, maybe last year, but for the last 15 years, it's pretty much the only time of the year we have to look forward to. So that's kind of what started it. And then now we're good. And it's kind of like you think about what possibilities we have if we do these certain things. Um, so let's get started. Staying consistent with my first round mock draft I did, I think, last week. I've got in the first round us taking Malik McDowell. I want to keep that consistent. Defensive lineman from Michigan State. I know a lot of people don't love that pick. A lot of people think we need a corner, and I would not be upset if we took a corner. But I think, and I was listening to someone talk about it today, and I truly see this when I look at him on film. I need to watch more film, obviously. It's early in the process for me, or I haven't had a ton of time to do it. But I think maybe besides Myles Garrett and maybe Reuben Foster, in my opinion, Malik McDowell is the most talented football player in this draft class. He is something else. He he's he's fast. He's fast off the ball. He's big. He beats double teams like textbook double team beater. He's fantastic. He will give us the ability to pressure the quarterback from inside up in the pocket, and really help out Khalil and Bruce and whoever else we have back there this next season. The thing that concerns me that I've heard a lot about, because I'm not real sure why he's falling. I've not really heard, I haven't really looked too deep into it, so let me know if you guys know. But I haven't really heard of any off the field issues with him. Um, the thing is later on in the year, he wouldn't hustle. He didn't play 100%. He was hands down the best Michigan State, probably the best player on Michigan State's team, but definitely on their defense. Um, and as their season started to tank, started to really, lose all hope, he kind of stopped trying. And that is a red flag, don't get me wrong, but if you put him in a team and the person who I was listening to today, Talking Ball, go check them out if you haven't. They talk a lot of draft and scouting, but they were talking today, and they said he needed to be in a strong locker room, which is something I always thought. And I'm thinking, is there a stronger locker room? Is there a stronger leader than Derek Carr in the NFL? Than Khalil Mack? You don't think that Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin and Carl Joseph is a real high integrity guy? I know he's young, but you don't think those guys could really help motivate this kid and really teach him how to be a pro? And it's one thing I heard someone else talking about. I don't remember who it was, a couple weeks back, about how it's for young kids like that. It's got to be so disheartening to be the only player on that defense, essentially. I don't watch a ton of Michigan State, so again, if you're a big Michigan State fan, let me know if I'm wrong about that. But to be the only player on that team and to give your all, because that's one thing people agree on, is early in the season he was going 100% balls to the wall every single play. But and to watch your team just go, just drift away and not have any hope anymore. Like, it's got to be disheartening. So you go to a team with a strong locker room, you fall because of it. If he does fall, I don't even know if he'll be there when we pick. Honestly, I think he's worthy of a top 5 pick. But you fall, and you end up with Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin and Derek Carr and Donald Penn. Those guys, those real high character guys, they'll teach you how to be a pro, and he'll end up being something special. I really think that. And he's versatile. That's always seems to be a big thing, is versatility in these players. So anyway, first round, Malik McDowell. Okay, now before I go on, I want to preface this with saying I don't have us taking a middle linebacker in this scenario, or an offensive tackle, to be honest. And it's something that, depending on how free agency goes, I think will affect how we draft. Plain and simple. So in this scenario, I have us taking in free agency a right tackle, whether it's Bobby Wagner or whoever else is available. I'm not sure off the top of my head. There's some guys out there. And Donta Hightower. I know that's a little steep, a little high hopes, and we probably won't do that, especially with Carr and Gabe Jackson, and Khalil Mack needing to get paid. But if we did do that, I don't see us taking a middle linebacker, at least early. Maybe. Well, maybe if we switch to a 3-4 or a 3-4-2. So I don't know. But I thought Corey James did okay. He's not a starter in my mind yet, at least. But a guy like Donta Hightower, even bringing back Perry Riley, I still think we would draft one earlier. But this is hard, and I don't have us really taking a middle linebacker, I don't think. I have us taking a linebacker later, and he might be able to play middle linebacker. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't have us doing that. So my biggest needs that we address are defensive line, secondary, and running back, and getting a third option for Carr. So anyway, second round, I have us taking Desmond King, who's a corner out of Iowa. A lot of people he's been slipping a lot. I haven't scouted a ton of him. I watched some of him last year, thinking he was going to come out last year. I was looking at him at that 15 spot where we were picking, where we took Carl Joseph, and he decided to come back for his senior year. So he won the Jim Thorpe Award last year, and he is really special. And he's another guy that's very versatile. So if he doesn't work out at corner, he's probably going to make a really, really good safety. And you pair him up with Carl Joseph, and we are set at safety for the next 10 years or whatever else. So I think he would be a good pick. Third round, I have us taking a guy I'm really starting to be really high on, and not a lot of people are talking about him, but Brian Hill, running back from Wyoming. I have started to see him go up a little bit in these mock drafts. I've seen him, but when I first heard of him, he was projected to go in the 6th and the 5th, and now I'm seeing him in the 2nd and the 3rd, and so I'm thinking we're not going to re-sign Latavius Murray, not for $6 million a year or whatever he wants, and I really think that Brian Hill might be an upgrade. He's got a nice combination of power and speed and shiftiness. He seems definitely like a 3-down back, and can really be a workhorse. 2 years ago, 2015, he rushed for 1,600 yards. I know it's Wyoming and kind of a, not a huge school, but they play teams like Oregon, and because I'm a big Duck fan, I watch them. And I actually grew up with a kid. He's a couple years younger, but I grew up with his sister. He's playing tight end for Wyoming. His name is Jacob Hollister, and he's actually getting ready for the draft. So I really wish him luck, and hope he does well. His twin brother plays wide receiver for Arkansas, so it's pretty cool. Cody and Jacob Hollister, go check them out. That's pretty awesome. Hometown Bend, Oregon. Went to high school with them and stuff. But I'm like 4 years older. They're my sister's age, but I knew them. So Brian Hill, and then this last year he rushed for 1,860 yards, so just shy of 2,000 yards with 22 touchdowns. So the production is there. He's 6'1", 218, so not bad. So yeah, Brian Hill, running back, Wyoming. Fourth round, this was another tough one. I wanted to give us Chidobe Awuzie. I think that's how you say it, from corner from Colorado. Everyone's high on him. And I kind of think we need that speedy kind of guy in our secondary because Desmond King seems like he's pretty big, and obviously we watched Sean Smith and David Amerson get pretty burnt all year, especially when they had to cover guys like Brandon Cooks. And I don't know if necessarily that's a knock on them or a knock on Ken Norton and how we used them. But either way, I kind of wanted to go there. But I didn't, because there's another kid that I'm really high on, and I don't know if he'll be there either. And I need to watch more film on all of these kids. But KD Cannon, wide receiver out of Baylor. This kid is explosive. I think he's definitely an upgrade over Seth Roberts. I like Seth Roberts. I know we all do. He won us some games, but he also dropped a lot of balls, and I felt like his drops were pretty instrumental in both those Kansas City losses. So I have to see about KD Cannon's drops, but he's fast as all hell, and he seems like a guy who could start in the slot, and maybe when Crabtree retires or whatever, he can move outside. Fifth round, Howard Wilson, cornerback out of Houston. I also like Corn Elder, who's a cornerback out of Miami, but I don't think he'll be there in the fifth round. He's the fast guy. It seems like he's someone that I think could be really good. Howard Wilson, I haven't seen it, and kind of from here on out, I haven't seen a ton on these guys. I've seen their names popped up. I've watched a little bit about them, but I haven't really got there. He seems like a guy from what I've heard that people are a little bit surprised that he's coming out, that he was one of the better defenders in Houston, which they had a real up and down year, ranked a lot, and I think at one point they were ranked in the top 4. And I don't know where they finished the season. I still think they were ranked, but I don't think that they were they might have been in the top 10. I'm not sure. But he was supposed to be one of their best corners, and people were kind of surprised that he came out because, last year they had William Jackson III, who went in the first round I think he went in the first to the Bengals, and so people kind of their attention was on him, and maybe if Howard Wilson had another year, he could have been that kind of a guy, but he decided to come out. So I think really helping our corner situation, and even if we don't cut Sean Smith, I like David Amerson, but he definitely had a more of an off year this year, I felt. But having, even if we don't cut him, having depth and having the ability to move on. Sean Smith is not a young guy. He's been around for a while. And I just am so sick of seeing him get burnt. But then you see it in flashes why we were all so excited and why he was so sought after. So I just think bringing in 2 corners and maybe 1 corner that can move to safety, because another big thing that a lot of people love, and I like to go back and watch the film, but I wasn't extremely impressed with, was Reggie Nelson, and he's old, but I felt like a lot of those times that Sean Smith was getting just beat, Reggie Nelson should have been over the top faster to help, and he wasn't. I know he picked off a lot of balls, and I'm really thankful for that. He made the Pro Bowl, but I felt like he was inconsistent. So having a guy who can, either drafting a safety or having a corner who can move to safety like Desmond King, really can set us up for the future and help. So Howard Wilson, cornerback out of Houston. Then this is where it's tough. Like, a lot of these guys I haven't seen a ton, but I originally wanted us to take Jalen Reeves-Maben, who's a linebacker out of Tennessee here. He was projected last year to be, sometimes I saw him projected to be the number 1 overall draft pick. but he has fallen, and I haven't done ton of research into why he's fallen. But I kind of have a feeling he won't be there. I think I kind of felt like in every team's 7-round mock draft that I've seen, no matter who it is, somewhere around here, every single one of them has him taking Jalen Reeves-Maybin, because he had one off year. I think he got hurt, and so I just kind of have a feeling he won't be there. But I wouldn't mind him there. So I ended up us taking. We need. I wasn't. I don't know. It's tough. We need a tight end. Michael Rivera is probably going to leave, but I also think that a tight end isn't going to make or break us. You know what I mean? It's not a situation where I don't think at this point in time, if we were to take O.J. Howard, who I really like, let's say in the first round, that we would win a Super Bowl. If we fix our defense, if Clive Walford plays, if we can get a good running game going and maybe a more consistent third receiving option, we can make it with Clive Walford and Lee Smith and take one later. But this draft is so deep at tight end that it's kind of a shame not to. So I have us taking Cole Hikutini, tight end out of Louisville. Don't know a ton about him, but this is about where people have seen him, and I've heard a lot of people say, and you always take it with a grain of salt, that they think he could be the best tight end in this draft class. I don't think so. I think O.J. Howard is, and you hear David Njoku a lot too, but I haven't seen a ton of him. But I think O.J. Howard is spectacular. So Cole Hikutini, tight end Louisville, and then in the 7th round, the thing is that I've seen a lot of people, and I'm not sure. Let me know if you know, but I've seen a lot of people say that we have 2 7th round picks. Because I think we were supposed to trade one with Seattle. I'm trying to remember who I thought that was for. Maybe I feel like it was a safety. Let me know if you know. And then a lot of people say we only have one. So I've tried to do my homework on that because I thought we only had one. But then I've seen a ton of mock drafts. Or not a ton, it's probably about 50-50. Say we have 2 or they say we have 1. So I erred on the side of 1. And then be pleasantly surprised with 2. So I have us taking Tyus Bowser. He's a linebacker from Houston. I think we could use, we've got guys like, I was so big on him too. Shalik Calhoun, who's kind of a DN linebacker from Michigan State last year. We took in the 3rd round. I liked him a lot. And then he played decently, pretty well at times. A lot of rookie mistakes, but he was a rookie and then got hurt. So I think that he gives us some depth and that he might compete for a starting job depending on what happens with Alden Smith and whatever else. And then we have Neron Ball, who, again, up and down sort of a player, but can really add some depth and compete. But I thought we might need another guy because, Alden Smith, who knows? We hope he's back, but with this whole thing and his past, it just doesn't look great. And then Roger Goodell, of course. And then, and then Malcolm Smith leaving. I say, he's another guy who's too inconsistent. I feel like kind of like DJ Hayden when he has those games where he flashes, you're pissed at him, and then he does something, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you're pissed at him, and then he does something, you're like, oh, okay. Kind of the same with Sean Smith, too, this year. So I thought maybe another linebacker might help. I don't know if Tyus will be successful moving into middle linebacker, but he might be an option there as well. So Tyus Bowser, linebacker from Houston. I was reading some Houston fans talk about Bowser and Wilson, who I was taking in the 5th, and they were saying that they were the 2 best defensive players on that Houston team. So, why not? Anyway, that's what I have. This is going to change quite a bit, but I'm sure. But this is kind of my best shot at it at the moment. Kind of just whipped it together. I'm going to do a lot more scouting. The combine's coming up. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like any of these picks. Let me know if you dislike. My last mock draft actually was my most viewed video, and I really appreciate the support, and if you like it, go ahead and like it. If you dislike it, go ahead and dislike it. Let me know why. I want a conversation. I definitely am nowhere close to an expert. I would love to be one day. Practice makes perfect. That's why I'm doing these things. But I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. Let me know what you think. Yeah. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Trying to get as many subscribers as possible, obviously. Put out more content. So yeah, subscribe and like the video if you do. Dislike it if you don't. Yeah, and let me know what you think. Just win, baby.